Hey everyone, welcome back to another BTLO Replay. Today we are going to solve PikaBoo, which is a medium leveled incident response category lab. Now this lab required a user to investigate the Active Directory as well as cloud environment. Before we move ahead, be sure to follow us on X, LinkedIn, or join the Discord server to keep in touch with the BTLO community. All the links are in the description box below. Let's quickly look at the scenario. TOT, a company, was developing a top secret cloud project. Their lead developer, Will, who always uses GitHub, went on Halloween vacation but received feedback on his website, where he had added his email for feedback. Needing someone to check his inbox, he sent his credentials to a colleague, Michelle. A few hours later, the entire cloud environment vanished. Will's in hot water for sharing his credentials. Never share yours. Can you uncover how the environment got assaulted? With that, let's perform the investigation and start solving the question. Question 1. What email address did Will add to his website? And it is mentioned that the website is accessible on port 80. So let's open our browser and go to Will's website, which is already bookmarked over here. So this is the Will's website. Let's quickly look at the source code if there is something present over here. And we do see for any feedback or suggestion, feel free to mail at will.befired@tot.com. So this is the email address which the question is asking. Let's copy, paste it here, submit, and yep, it is correct. Question 2. The attacker targeted the cloud. Check Will's website. Was anything leaked or somehow left behind? Provide the access key. Now for this question, we need to find if there is anything left on the website, and we just saw there was nothing apart from email address in the source code. You would have noticed on the desktop we do have a tool called git dumper. So this should give a clarity that okay, we can look inside the git folder on the website itself. So let's just have a look, /.git, and yep, we do see that the git directory is present and the files inside it as well. Let's use git dumper tool. Before that, let's make a folder, gitted folder. Inside this we will dump all the content of the git folder. So let's just use git dumper, then the URL from which we have to dump the git directory, localhost port 80 :git/, and we have to provide a folder, gitted folder. Hit enter. Now if you see, we have all this content dumped inside the particular directory. Let's go inside this gitted folder. Now let's just do ls-la. Yep, we do have .git. Now once we are inside the git folder, let's use git log command to see if there was any previous commits being made. And over here we see we do have 2 commits, and we can look at them individually using the command git show, and let's just paste the value which we just copied, hit enter, and yep, we do see some content. Okay, third party keys.txt, which contained the access key and the secret key. So this is the access key which the question is asking. Let's copy this questions, let's paste it here, submit, and yep, it is correct. Question 3. Using Splunk, find the user to whom this access key belongs. Let's hop on to our browser, and we have our Splunk over here. Now just a bit of information about the access key. So whenever any action is getting triggered, or anything is happening, or anything is executed in the environment, the access key is also being logged, which tells that okay, which user was involved or which identity was involved in performing the activity. So we can simply just paste our access key, click on search. Here we have 10 activity from this access key, or to whoever this access key belonged to. Now to know what was the user involved, we can simply expand all these events, and the most probable or most likely field is the user identity, in which we can find our entry. Over here we do see the username third party vendor. There is one more way. We can simply go on the left side and we can simply click on this user identity.username, and we see that only one entry is present. That means all these 10 entries which is shown to us belongs to single user, and that single user is third party vendor. Let's just copy this, copy, paste it here, submit, and yep, it is correct. Question 4. Michelle used Internet Explorer to download an attachment from Will's email. Identify the file that led to initial access, and the format is filename.extension. Perfect. Now, the biggest hint in the question is usage of Internet Explorer, for which there is a particular name of the executable file. Now, the file name is ieexplore.exe. Let's search for this. Now upon searching for this, we do see 27 events. Obviously we can just expand each event and we can look at this fields what content is present. Let's just take a different route and look at all the command lines which is present over here in the tabular format. Stats count by parent, my bad, parent, command line, command line, hit enter, missed by, stats count by. Now that the data is populated, we can see an entry or a file feedback.exe present in the cache directory, and it is also related to a user account called Gibson, which probably would stand for Michelle Gibson, where M would stands for Michelle, and it is related to IE Explorer as well. So let's use feedback.exe as our answer, feedback.exe, and yep, it is correct. Question 5. Which host was compromised first? For this, let's quickly search our newly found file feedback.exe and see to what all host does this file belongs to. And right away we see that this is only related to single host, and the host is machine 2. So let's just put this as an answer, machine -2, and yep, it is correct. Question 6. An ASRAP roast attack occurred. What was the targeted account? Now, whenever an ASRAP roast attack occurs, so there are a few things which we can easily look in the logs to identify it. First of all, we have to check if there are any 4768 event ID log, which stands for a Kerberos authentication ticket was requested. Just a bit of background: whenever a ticket is requested from the domain controller, it is generally provided with the AES 256 encryption. But in case of ASRAP roast attack, it comes with RC4 encryption. We can see there is an entry called ticket encryption type here, which stands for 0x17. Now in case of RC4, it will be 0x17. In case of AES, it will be 0x12. So let's look in the logs if there are any events related to event ID 4768 with ticket encryption type 17. In case if you're wondering how do I know all these field name, so for that you can simply just go here, look if there is any matching field name. If not, you can just extract. Let me just refresh it once again. Let me remove this, hit enter. So you can look if there is any matching field over here, or you can simply click on this, like here it is mentioned 230 more field. So if there is any field present over here or inside this 230 fields or whatever the number is, you can simply check if there is any matching or relatable field for your query. So event code is equal to 4768, ticket encryption type is 0x17, hit enter, and we do see one event. Let's just click on show all lines, and the account name which was targeted over here is PikaBoo, pika.boo, and this is what the question is asking. So let's just give the username pika.boo, hit enter, and yep, this is correct. Question 7. On the first compromise system, an obfuscate command was executed. Provide the deobfuscated part of the first command found. Sweet. Now, the question is directly giving us another hint, machine 2, which is our first compromise machine, and it is asking for the obfuscated execution, okay, or obfuscated command execution. Now, whenever this terms comes up, execution of any obfuscate command, first thing which we should look for is PowerShell execution, because PowerShell has the ability to execute base64 encoded command with the help of encoded command parameter like this. So we can just search for encoded command within the wildcards, because you never know if there is anything afterwards or before, which obviously there will be. So we are using this wildcard. So the logic will be inside the first compromise machine. We are looking for any event with PowerShell and contains encoded command in it. Hit enter, and we have three events available. So the question also mentioned in case there are multiple events, we have to go with the first one that is present. So let's look at the time. Okay, and both and all of them seems to be containing same opposite command. So let's just copy this, copy, go inside the terminal. You can also use CyberChef if you want to. I'll just take the easy route. Echo this base64-d, and this is the deobfuscated command. Find string password inside this particular folder. Okay, copy, paste, submit, and yep, it is correct. Question 8. The attacker, to access other internal systems with valid credentials, created an instance in the cloud. Find its private IP address. Now you would have guessed that the cloud environment which we are up against is AWS. If you had also looked into the source type, we have CloudTrail log, which only exists in AWS environment. So if we go online and search for create instance in AWS using API, we get these two APIs, create instance and run instance, which are almost similar when you just look at the names, that yeah, they may be somehow related to creation of any instance. So let's go back into our Splunk and search for these two API, like create instance. Do we have anything? Okay, we do have a lot, but they are not related to AWS. So let's just change it to run instances, and we do have one event and it is related to AWS. Yes. Now what we can do, we do have the source IP address from this request was generated and other information. Now since this was a request that was sent to AWS for creation, we would have also received some sort of response for that particular request. And you see here are two interesting field: request parameters, response elements. So probably once the instance is created, AWS would have given the response including all the information, like okay, this is the instance ID, this is the IP address, and all sort of things. So let's just expand this and see what do we have. Instance set, expand the items. So here we see some information like okay, which type of hypervisor it is, image ID, instance ID, key which was used, then instance type, and here we have the private IP address that the question is asking for, 10.0.1.126. Let's submit this. And yes, this is correct. Question 9. Which host did the attacker log in using the recently compromised account? And I believe the recently compromised account is PikaBoo, and it logged in successfully. So that means for the successful login attempt, we can use event code 4624. Username is pika.boo. Let's search for this. Oh, we have a lot of events to look for. Now, in order to narrow this down, obviously, if we just try to picture this, that first, ASAP roast account attack occurred, and then created an instance to access the internal system. So possibly from this instance, which has the private IP address of 10.0.1.126, this particular instance was used to log in inside the internal systems with the credentials of PikaBoo or whatever what I've found from here. So let's just see if there is any field related to source IP address. So we do have network account. Yep, source network address. Let's click on this, and we do see this particular IP that we are interested in. And surprisingly, this is all these 51 events are related to single host, which is machine 1. So let's just enter this machine 1, and yep, this is correct. So just to review what we just did, we used 4624 event id, which is for successful login. We know the PikaBoo was the account that was recently compromised, and in order to access the internal system, the attacker would need to have an instance that is inside or which is part of internal group. Hence, an instance was created, and most likely that instance was used to log in or to log in inside any of the internal system. Question 10. The attacker reran the previously found obfuscated command and then moved to a Linux system. Find the username, IP, and protocol used for access. So I believe the obfuscated command is referred, which is referred is the one we found in question 7, and the deobfuscate part is this, in which it is trying to look for password as a substring in all the files in that particular directory. Now to solve this question, we can just take a layman approach, like okay, in order to access any Linux system, what is the primary protocol, what is the primary way? The first thing that comes inside one's mind is obviously SSH. So if we look into SSH, we do have some entries of SSH over here, and if we scroll down, we see this like command line ssh.exe john at the rate 10.0.1.133. We can also click on this, and yep, these three command lines are also saying the same thing, that okay, SSH is the protocol that was used to access John account on this particular system. Let's see what the format is. Protocol, user, and IP. Protocol is SSH, user is John, IP is 10.0.1.133. Hit enter, and yes, this is correct. Question 11. A file was downloaded from the connected system. What was the file name? Connected system, which is referred over here, is probably this one, 10.0.1.133. So let's just look if there was any exfiltration or download happening from CLI 1.133. My bad. Let's look into this, and we have 6 events for this particular IP address, or 6 events where this particular IP address is found as a substring. Let's look into the command line. So we have one for our SSH login, another one is using PowerShell using invoke web request, downloading something, and the file name seems to be loldump.txt. We have similar download available over here. Okay, so all these Three events are for downloading a file, and the file is called loldump.txt. Although the difference is this PowerShell command is saving it as loldump.txt, bits admin is saving it as loldump underscore db.txt. Yup. Okay. So that means the file which is being downloaded is lol0ldump.txt. Hit submit, and yep, this is correct. Question 12. Another large obfuscated command was executed. What activity was performed? Reference from MITRE tactic. Okay. Now, if we just look that this download happened from which system, so the system is machine 1. So let's do one thing. Let's narrow down the events that okay, we are interested in events from machine 1, and since it is again saying huge obfuscated command was executed, so we'll again see for PowerShell.exe and wildcards encoded command command, hit enter, and we have 5 events available to us. And yep, we do see one big uh, obfuscated part. Let's just copy this, go back to our Splunk, oh sorry, go back to our terminal, and let's just do echo, paste the obfuscated command, base 64-d. Okay, so this seems to be like some sort of script, some API key, file path. Okay, db. All right. Okay, so this is a script that is exfiltrating or pasting or creating a new uh, paste bin URL by exfiltrating the content, which is loldump.txt, and this is the API used. Okay, and at the end it will just print out the paste bin URL. All right, so this is obviously exfiltration, and even if you go online and look into MITRE framework tactics, exfiltration is one of them. So exfiltration, hit enter, and yep, this is correct. Question 13. What web service was used for this activity? Also provide the API key found. We just found it. The web service is paste bin, and the API key is right over here. Copy, paste, submit, and yep, this is correct as well. Question 14. How did the environment disappear from the cloud? Identify the API used. So for this, you can simply go online and search for delete instance in AWS using API, and we will get delete instance as one of them, like deletes the Amazon Connect instance, and another one seems to be terminate instances. It shut down the specified instances. Okay, so let's hop onto Splunk and search for these two entries. Search for delete instance, search, and do we have anything over here? So we have 92 events, and let's see if they are related to AWS. Nope. Now let's search for terminate instances. Terminate instances. Okay, we do have 2 events. This is the first one which executed. Okay, and it is happening from the same source IP address. So let's look at what request was sent. Now this time we will be interested in seeing what request was sent from the attacker to the AWS environment. Why? Because obviously attacker would have specified what instance need to be destroyed or deleted. So upon expanding these entries, we see that okay, a lot of instances were passed for the deletion, and we can assume or we can surely say that terminate instances is the API that was used to destroy the or delete the instances. So let's provide the API, terminate instances, hit enter, and sweet, it is correct. Question 15. How many instances were disappeared? Well, we just found that okay, a request was sent and total 6 instance IDs were passed as the request in this API call. So the number should be 6. Submit, and yep, it is correct. Question 16. A user from machine 1 reported seeing a message in a blue box before instances disappeared. What was the message? Message will be inside quotes. So obviously the blue box over here is referring to a PowerShell. So my bad, PowerShell.exe, submit. Okay, let's remove a bit of noise. Uh, not We will exclude anything which contains Splunk. Okay, now we have relatively less events. Let's see if we can find anything in command line. Stats count by command line. Now if you have ever wondered that why I always jump upon this query stats count by command line, so the basic reason is instead of just expanding each and every event over here, or expanding, or looking inside the command line entry over here, the best way I believe is to have a table, and you can just easily look in the results over there. Okay, so here we do see some events, okay, with PowerShell, downloading of lol dump.txt, this big base 64 chunk which was for the exfiltration. This seems to be new. Let's just copy this, copy, and I think we did executed this. Yeah, this ZGB4, we did found this here. That means this was already found, and it was for looking the password. Okay, now let's have this particular entry, base 64-d. Okay, this says right host, kaboom, happy Halloween, and this also matches one of the condition in the question. Message will be inside quotes. Let's just copy this, paste, submit, and yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to never miss a video. In the meantime, remember to join us on Discord and tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. UTC for BTLO Replay. Thanks everyone. See you next time.